pretty bullish, especially after breaking above these previous all-time highs here and these ones right in here. So we're still looking very good on the weekly chart, and this candle does close here in the next 23 hours. Oh, hold on. What is gold saying? Oof. Or silver. We just got a confirmation on silver right now. Again, we always look for the same thing. We look for some type of liquidity, and then price does sweep the lows and break above the highs. And we just got that right here with silver. I was waiting for this. We had a low right here. We had a high. We did sweep that and then break above right here. We did break above before, but I wanted to just get one more confirmation, and we did. So if and when price does decide to work its way back down, hopefully into this imbalance here, I would love to take some silver buys. I would love that. And then if you look at the Fibonacci from the low to the current highs, 50% is also inside of the imbalance. So I will be waiting on that as well. But let's go back to NAS real quick. Go back to NAS. It's S&P. Go back to the weekly real quick. Yeah, so it's still pretty bullish. This candle does close here in the next day. So that's what we're looking at. And then going down to the daily time frame, we do see some more structure. But I was really looking at the 4 hour because it's super clean. Right here, prices have been moving to the upside pretty heavily. We are in an area where price could sell off. I did have the sells marked up right here at this level because at first we were making higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs here, higher lows, and then we got a higher high. We made a higher low, but instead of making another higher high to continue this uptrend here, we actually broke structure to the downside, and we broke beneath this low here, this low here, this low, and this low. Right, we came pretty far down. We broke beneath several lows, so that shifted momentum temporarily to the downside. So now as price got back into this area where we first initially shifted structure, people did take some sells right in here. This morning, I know my boy Chris, he does take the sell, so he sold off here, I think for like 200 pips, something like that. And price is still respecting the structure. But as far as buys go, I am looking for buys lower in these zones here. Again, it's going to be the same setup every single time. We had a low point, we had a high point, we swept the lows, sweeping the liquidity, and then we did break above these highs here. And then price came back and gave us more liquidity, right? We swept the lows, broke above. So I am looking for buys right in here in this area. I have some buy limits set here and a little bit lower as well for us to, take price way higher. Especially since Bitcoin just announced that they'll be added to the NASDAQ somehow with like an ETF. So Bitcoin and NASDAQ, expect that to just go parabolic to the moon. Like Bitcoin's like the number one asset right now. NASDAQ has been flying because of NVIDIA, the leading artificial intelligence company. So those two combined, it's just really about to take these markets to the next level. We may see a dip first before the runoff, but of course, we have to just wait and be patient. But for NAS, this is what we have. Be on the lookout for these areas right in here. Let me go down to the smaller time frame so you see it more clear. Take this off as well. Right. Again, just always look for the same thing. We're looking for the same thing every single time. That's what we always use to enter. This takes the emotion out of the trade. So you're not guessing and gambling or, I feel like this is going to happen. I think this will happen. This is concrete evidence. So then you're making decisions based off one thing every single time. And it's not confusing. It's not going to mix you up. Technically, we do have something here as well. We do have this liquidity being built up. And we did sweep the lows and we broke above the highs. So price could respect this as well before continuing, but I would love to see lower buys only because as far as the sells go, we did just sell off these lows here, right? Once we broke structure beneath these lows, that indicated to us that this was no longer a support or a floor. Now it became resistance, right? That's what happened. Something like support becomes resistance, and vice versa when things get broken. So that's how you see with no drawdown, right? Probably 10 pips. You risk 10 pips, $10 to make over 200 if you participated in these sells. But you know me, I don't really like to counter trend trade. If this thing's been going up since before we were born, I'm just going to keep adding on buys. I see the sells, I notice them, but I just choose to ignore them just to eliminate any confusion, and because the trend is your friend, right? Just stick to the trend. It's like, imagine trying to climb a rope up Niagara Falls. It's not going to happen. So I'm not going to fight the markets like that. I'm not going to, try to force the market to go down on NAS when it's been aggressively pushing to the upside, right? So we're just waiting for either the setup down here. This was the second one here where we had the liquidity sweep, and we did break above. So I would love to catch something in here, right? And then of course we have the lower zone as well. Not until it's a reversal. I learned the hard way. Yeah, I mean, if it's a reversal like on the higher time frame, like on the weekly, if I see the weekly time frame shift structure to the downside like we did back here, right? We had, a high point, a low point. We swept the highs and we did shift structure to the downside. I did sell here before, about, what was it, like 3 years ago? Yeah, I did catch this sell because this was a weekly shift in structure. That's extreme confirmation. But we don't have that here. All we see on the weekly time frame is higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So far on the weekly time frame, it's since the beginning of the year, it's been just straight bullishness. So if we do get a weekly, shift to the downside, then yeah, I may entertain some sells. But until then, I'm not gonna let the daily or the 4 hour convince me otherwise, right? I know we had some over here as well. We had a shift on the daily. We had the high, the low, sweep, boom, and then people did sell off right here, right? But I use this as an opportunity to catch these buys right in there, right? Because we had the same setup. We had liquidity being built up. We swept the lows. We broke above the highs, and we retested, went crazy to the moon, and then gave a sell signal to then take us right back down to catch more buys. And then price has flown thousands of pips, since then, over 4,000 pips since then. So super solid. If I do see sells, I typically just let the sells happen and I watch it, and then I just catch the buys, right? Because I want to continue trading in the trend that the market is essentially going. And as we see here, it's been going up forever. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I will still drop the sells. I know we got some people in here who they love to sell. They want to make money both ways. They want to play ping pong in the market. So I will also, let you guys know when there is a sell set up. And if you guys see the structure shifts, drop those in the chat. All right, drop those in the chat. Let people know. But personally, I will not be participating. But I'll still let you guys know. So just in case you guys want to go ahead and take those for yourself. But that's essentially what's happening with NAS. Very, very clean structure here, as we can see. All we have to do now is wait and be patient. It is doing its thing. It's working its way back down. So we're just going to be patient on that. Let it play out. Let it do its thing. You guys have any other charts that you want me to go over, or any other questions? I can stay on for a few more minutes and, maybe mark up some charts that you guys are looking at, or if you guys are confused about anything so far. I know we have a lot of new people who joined the Discord recently. U.S. oil is still melting. Let me take a look at oil real quick. I'm glad it's melting. I've been waiting for these oil buys for a minute. A cool minute. Right? For me, on oil, I'm looking at this huge weekly setup. We have this liquidity being built up. We did sweep the lows during the pandemic when oil went to $0. And then since 2020, it shot up like crazy. So when oil does get back into these levels around $65 a barrel, in between $65 and $40, I'll be going and looking for more confirmation on the inside to take this oil, because this oil can, if oil comes back in here, these buys can take us to the moon, right? It's not going to be good for people who drive gas cars, because I mean gas prices are going to go through the roof. But if you trade oil, you can pay for your gas with these oil trades. That's the goal. And we have this trend line liquidity here that's been building up ever since 2021. So we have 3 years, almost 4 years of liquidity right here. So if this gets swept, a lot of people are going to get liquidated, and that money will be used to take price to the next level, right? Never looked at it that way. I'll take that into consideration. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. That's why I really only trade things that have a trend, just to make it easier, right? Just follow the trend. You know, if it's going up, just keep buying. Even if it sells, like the market can't go up forever. But when it sells off, that's just an opportunity for you to catch lower buys, you know? So that's what I use the sells for. Yeah, but oil has been consolidating here pretty much the whole year, you know, for several weeks, just been stuck in this little consolidation range, not really going up or down. On the smaller time frames, it's moving like crazy on the smaller time frames, but this is just build up for something big coming. So I'm just waiting for that big move to happen and then, you know, capitalize off that. But that's how the market works. You know, it takes away from people who are impatient and gives it to the people who are patient. And that's, you know, it's just what it is. This game teaches you how to just be more patient overall. And then when it comes to silver, we did get the notification earlier. Let me go down to the daily as well. Look at silver plays. I would love to catch, I wanted to catch silver at $25, but if it holds up here, that's also fine. We do have a nice setup on the left side. We had these lows right in here. We had the high. We swept those lows, broke above, came back for the retest, and then price flew to the moon. And then after several days and weeks, we finally worked our way all the way back down to the same setup to give us another retest. So as we see, that's why we see price moving to the upside, because this setup here is still valid, because the stop loss for this setup is all the way down here. Stop loss hasn't been violated, so this whole area is good for buys. This whole area is good for buys. And as we see, once we came back into the same area as before, you want to wait for another confirmation before you take the trade. And as we see, we got that on the daily and below. You can see it better on the 4 hour or even the 1 hour. You see the setup a lot more clear. Again, we had the liquidity from this low point to this high point. We swept these lows, and then we did break above these highs here. So that's a very good confirmation. So in order for me to take some buys, we'd have to either come back here to the same level that was just broken, or come lower and give another confirmation, another setup on the inside to take this. I would prefer to see another confirmation, so my stop loss doesn't have to be all the way down here. It'll be here instead at this low. That's how you refine your entry, so you're not having this huge area to take a buy from. You now wait for the smaller one to happen on the inside and then use that setup as your stop loss. That's how you refine the entry and capitalize on that. But if that smaller setup ever did get stopped out right here, just know that this was your actual true stop loss. So you got, if this gets clapped, hey, it is what it is. Just know that in the back of your mind that this was your actual stop loss. So anything on the smaller time frames that gets clapped, it's just more liquidity and emotional damage to make you lose confidence, so you don't take the actual trade. So always be aware of that. And then going to, what else do we have? I know we got Bitcoin right now going crazy. Gold, I'm still waiting on gold at 20,000 or 2,500. I would love to catch these buys. We'll see. Ever since we got the sell set up here, it's been having a hard time moving, right? We had a high point with that wick, a low point with this wick. We swept the highs, broke beneath the lows, came back to retest those lows that were broken, sold off, came back again to those same lows at that wick that were broken, sold off once more, right? Very, very clean respect. If you draw a line here from this low that was broken, that shifted structure to the downside with this massive sell candle, right? We sold so aggressively, we broke beneath these lows, and then the very next candle, we got a retest with no drawdown, sold off. Another retest with no drawdown, and then sold off. This is going just based off the structure. Came back again, filled in some of this imbalance here twice, and then sold off. And it's slowly trying to work its way back up. So if price does hold here, we actually could take buys from here and continue higher. But I am going to just be a little bit more patient and see if we can come lower into these areas, because this would be super clean, super solid. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to do. We can do anything at once. So that's why I'm just waiting for more confirmations, which I believe gold gave it to. We did break above these highs. We tried to with the wick. It didn't happen. We finally got it with this candle, and we got it again today. Right, so that's super, super solid. We'll see what they want to do. I see another one here as well, going down to the smaller time frames. After you see the setup like so many times, it's going to become embedded in your system, right? We have liquidity. We sweep it. We did break above. So this is a setup right here, right on top of the structure. So this can be getting us a good entry to take this higher. Stop loss being at these lows here. So I do like this a lot. This could be something as well. We'll see. I know my boy Takai, I'm not sure if he's on the call, but he did catch the gold buys down here as well. So he's up. He's up fat right now. He's been in these buys since the setup down here. So that's super clean, right? We had even though it's one candle, right? This is a low. That's a high. And then we swept these lows. And we broke above right in here. So when price came and back into the zone, it took off. And it may look like one candle or one wick on the 1 hour, but on the, let's say the 15-minute, it's actually more than that, right? It's more candles. We have a low, a high, sweep, and then break above. Price comes back, you enter, and then it just flies off. So yeah, shout out to Takai. He posted this in the chat a few days ago, last week. And if you did take his trade, we are up as well. He trades it the same way, going off the structure. Super solid. And yeah, it's been giving the same structure over and over and over. We've been seeing it over and over and over. Liquidity, sweep, break above, retest, gone. Liquidity, sweep, break above, retest, gone. It's just over and over. Super clean, super solid. Again, if you haven't already watched, go to the tab on the left side and click on YouTube and go ahead and watch the market structure videos. Right, I made a whole playlist on market structure as a whole, and then I broke down each concept one by one on there as well. Super, super digestible. And then also let me know any other videos you guys might want or need some elaboration on as well. But yeah, and let's look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin's been going crazy. Broke 100,000. We made history. Bitcoin's been up since forever as well. It's been bullish forever. So it's been making higher highs and higher lows. This was the nastiest setup down here that a lot of people missed, which is crazy because, we shouldn't be missing these types of trades. But we had a low point, a high point. We swept these lows, broke above the highs, came back to retest, and then this was back at $20,000. $20,000 for one Bitcoin, and price after that setup on the weekly has never come back. It's just gone. From 20K to 100K. That's how much percent gain is that? That's over 300%, almost 400% gains from just one trade. All right, that's the beauty of swing trading and position trading. Like when you buy stock or crypto, you're not getting in and out every 5-10 minutes. No, you're holding that forever, for as long as you can until you need the profit. So I treat trading the same way. I treat it as an investing, like long-term investing, but with leverage and more usage. It's more easier to navigate it, as far as I see. And then Bitcoin right here has been respecting 90K for a minute. It's Been respecting this level ever since this setup right in here. And look how clean price respects it. Super clean. We had liquidity right in here. It's a low point, a high point. We swept the lows, broke above the highs, retested and flew. Came back for another retest, took off again, came back for a third retest. Still respecting the setup, never breaking beneath the lows, and then flies. So if we ever get back down here, I wouldn't mind catching the buys right at 90K, but that's if we drop that low. And the reason why I say if is because we did get a confirmation here as well on the 1 hour. We had more liquidity being built up, swept it, and we broke above. Came back even deeper, but the stop loss here at this low point was never hit. So technically this whole area is valid for some buys. We'll see what happens with current price action if we get another setup right here to confirm that this original play that I just marked up is valid. Because just because you have a setup, let's say you find a setup right here, you see all this, boom, sweep, and you mark it up, it looks all nice and pretty. You mark up your stop loss, you mark up the highs that we broke, so you're looking for buys all in here. Just because you have this marked up doesn't mean it has to be respected. Price can come back down and just break through all this. But to confirm that what you have marked up is valid, once price does come back into your zone, you wait for another one to happen. Wait for more liquidity, a sweep, break above. Once that happens, this smaller setup here confirms the original one. That gives you more confidence in taking the trade. So that's what I always wait for. I wait for it to happen again. And then if you want to get even more technical, once we do come back for the retest, you can wait for it even a third time. A smaller one inside of there before taking that. And this happens every day, on every chart, every time frame, over and over and over. That's why I like market structure, because honestly, there can't be a market without structure. It just doesn't make sense. Like, that's why it's called market structure. Like the market won't exist if there was no structure. That's why I use it, because it's like literally it's a concrete evidence. It's black and white. There's no gray area. There's no room for confusion, right? Anytime someone sends me a chart, before you tell me your bias and, oh, I think this is going to happen, what does the structure say? Show me the Carfax first. Show me the Carfax, and then we can talk about your trend line, and then we can talk about your bias and your indicator and your RSI. Show me the structure first, and then we can have a conversation. But this always needs to come first, right? Because again, there cannot be a market without structure. But that's all I have for NASDAQ and gold and Bitcoin and other things. Any other charts you guys want me to look at? I got room for one more, but if not, I'll let you guys get back to it. There's not really much happening with NAS right now. I'm just waiting for price to come lower. I'm waiting for that to come lower to these buys. I got my alerts set. You can see here. I got one set for here just in case, and then I got one set for here. Yuri. Let me see. Yuri. United Rentals. Let me check it out. Are you investing in this? Let me see. Go to the weekly real quick. Yeah, I mean, I do see a setup. It just mitigated from here. Recently, we had a low point, we had a high point, we swept the lows, and we did break above right there. Came back to retest, flew, and we came back for another retest right here. So price is working its way up. So I mean, if I were going to invest in this, I would have invested here at this level. What is it? 726. I would have put some money in there. Yeah, so that's a pretty solid United Rentals. It is high up as well, but the structure is still making higher highs and higher lows. Right? It's just higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So it's still respecting structure. So until we see, a break beneath maybe these lows here, then it'll be shifting to the downside temporarily to put us in a lower buy somewhere. Right? And in order for price to be selling off, we'd have to see, something like this. Boom. And then we have to break beneath this protected low. Then I'll be like, okay, if it comes back up here, I'll be looking for sells to take lower to one of these other buy zones down here. But we haven't gotten that yet. So this is still holding up. And as we see on the weekly chart, it's respecting. Right? We came into this area, we got a nice rejection twice, 2 weeks back to back. So far so good. I would just be looking on the smaller time frame for us to give another setup, which means we would have to break above these highs right here, because we have, again, a low, a high, sweep. We'd have to break above here to confirm. And then if you didn't already invest or you're looking to invest, once we get that break and price does come back down, go ahead and, add some shares, up to you. Boom. Let it ride. Let it ride. And this can ride back to all-time highs if it's truly one of those. I mean, this is part of the NASDAQ. So, if NASDAQ is running, I assume this is going to run as well, just off that. But, yeah, there we go. Super solid. Please drop your charts in the chat. Share your thoughts on what you see in the market as well. Don't be shy. Let's make some money together. Let's catch. I mean, like, if everyone is trading market structure, if everyone's looking at the same thing every single day, there's really no excuse why we're not making money. Right? If everyone is trading the same thing, looking at the same chart, doing the same, like, every single day, we got, 10 people in this call. Like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Right? We need to get on top of it. This is the time for us to create the generational wealth. This is not a time to, be confused or not learning the skill set. Like, learn this stuff. We got to take this real serious. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the call. I hope you guys had a good time with your families yesterday. I know we got the New Year's coming up, so let's lock in. Let's lock it in. Let's make 2025 our year. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's get it.